very solid. All right, fire. What's up, guys? What up? What up? Yo, Lexi, Alvin, Crew, Casper, what's up? I know. Let's have a good day. Yesterday we didn't take any trades again, the bank holiday. And again, wasn't too much movement, so I'm all fine with that. The bias did. I kind of forget my own bias. But we're going to go back. I just dropped my weekly outlook in my Telegram, so I don't know if you guys are in there. Crew, I don't know what you mean by that. I have no way of telling you that. I haven't looked over anything. But to go over my bias for today, so what am I first looking at is the fact that we are bullish on the 4 hour. What's US 100? Lewis, if you follow me on Instagram, I just posted the link. My Instagram is Niicksfx. So bias, US 100 or UK 100, if that's what you're talking about, is not on legacy. If you're talking about NASDAQ, it's just NQ. Just NQ. Give me a second. Fucking load. All right. So if you're looking for like NASDAQ, it would just be NQ or MNQ. I'll get that ready right now. But let's go over the bias for DAX. So DAX, first things first, on the 4 hours, I do see that we are bullish. Okay, I can see from a 4 hour standpoint that we have facilitated that pullback. That was something that I was looking at earlier. What are we going to trade? I am trading DAX, UK 100, and then NASDAQ. What's up, Blue Dream? What's up, Chance? But if you guys are trading with Legacy, again, you primarily or can only trade NQ with me. But again, we're still going to trade NQ. I'm just going over the breakdown for these other markets that I do trade my live account on. So, and I trade it pretty much the same way, just on a different time frame. So with the 4 hour, again, I can and was expecting price to pull down into this equilibrium or even potentially a little bit deeper within a discounted area. We did end up doing that, which I was looking at price earlier. And we were sitting up here. So I was hoping that price wasn't going to make that final move down because we, at that point, know that we had something to target, which was the EQ. But now that we've actually come into the equilibrium of this 4 hour leg, we could just see price react back higher. Is it likely to happen? It's more likely to happen than it is to not happen, meaning there's a higher chance or higher probability that price can now go higher than it is to remain bearish. But again, we'll go to a lower time frame and see what we can see from a lower time frame standpoint. Now that the 30-minute has broken this low and made a new low, we could ultimately play the pullback of this leg too. So if we see some type of internal bullish structure within here, we could end up just targeting a quick bullish move into some type of 30-minute pullback here. It's not the best looking day, being that we already have come down into equilibrium, but seeing that if we do start shifting here shortly with some type of break of structure, a pullback and continuation, I will shoot. But I don't think I'm just going to enter right off the open at a break of this like resistance level. JR 30 is the same as JR 40. Yes, it is. Exact same. Well, I would use JR 40. Truly. But going back to it, I do think I would want to see an extra bit of confirmation just before we get into those buys. I'm not saying that price can't just break this area and absolutely rip higher. 100% can, especially with the volume that we see at London Open. But ultimately, I'd rather wait for that confirmation of some type of new leg being formed, a pullback, and then an obvious continuation of that bullish expansion. So UK 100. All right, so UK 100, we've been very much bullish, and that's probably why we're continuing bullish. As you can see, we did have that bullish expansion here. did have that pullback, which we did catch those sales last week if you guys were here. But we did come down deep enough within equilibrium, and that's most likely why we're reacting back to the upside. And this is, an example of why I believe DAX can definitely go higher from here on out, is because if we look at DAX too, what do? We just hit the equilibrium. UK 100, as soon as we hit the equilibrium of that new bullish leg, we reacted and went higher. I'm not saying it always happens at equilibrium, but it's just a higher probability of it happening. And you can see a clear example here where we are doing that. So obviously, I am expecting these highs to be taken. One thing to kind of note is from like a daily standpoint is we've been bullish for a while. Granted, it's an indice, we can't expect to continue higher, but ultimately I am expecting price to pull back at some point. It may not even happen this week, but it's just a little side note. It doesn't really take away anything from, today. Like, we're not going to necessarily play off that fact and just wait for a pullback. No, price is going to remain bullish. We're going to continue to trade within its bullish structure. We can clearly see that's the case here. So I can expect these highs to be taken, being this is our last high created. If we go down to lower time frames to look for an entry, we're not seeing much, okay? Unless price does pull back within this entire bullish expansion and continues higher, okay? That's the only way I'm probably going to look to enter, is if we come down into equilibrium and then come higher, okay? And in this case, I would probably wait for a break of a high rather than just entering off equilibrium, or wait for price to pull down all the way into here. Oh shit. Stops all the way at those lows, and then I would target some type of high, which granted, it is a pretty big move, being that with UK 100 we don't see a lot of. We do see 40-point moves all the time, but typically, that's our full target. Our full target would be about an 80-point or 90-point in this case. So I do think it's definitely possible that we do see some buys today, but I would need to see a significant pullback and obviously see price have a nice continuation back higher. We could just end up ripping, but I don't enter at those at like a top of a range like that. All right, let's go to NQ. NQ, this is where it gets interesting, because I know a lot of you guys will be trading NQ with me. And again, I break down pretty much the same way, right? Identify where we're sitting at within the higher time frames. First things first, if we go to the daily, one thing I did notice, and I did put this on my weekly outlook on my Telegram, is we have this daily bearish leg. We had a pullback, and it looks like we're continuing back down. We can also look to the left to see that price also is bearish within here, where we had this first initial bearish leg, had our pullback, we kind of chopped out within here, and we had another push down here, kind of confirming that internal structure is now bearish, and we can continue to most likely expect price to continue within that bearish manner. So you can see within the hourly as well, where we did, break lower, have a pullback, and we're looking to continue lower. So let's see. One thing I am noticing within the hourly is we do have this, bearish leg here. We could facilitate a pullback within this hourly leg before continuing back lower with that daily trend. But I like to just kind of look at the previously hour candles. And what I'm looking like is, honestly, I could expect price to be a little bit bullish today. I think we'll probably end up buying today. A lot of that comes from the fact that these last couple candles here have been showing hesitation, in the sense that price is not really looking to go lower. We had a decent bottom wick that led to a decent volume filled bullish candle. And then right now we had a very nice bottom wick that's leading to a very nice bullish expansion on the hourly. So that's giving me the idea that we could be bullish for today. And a lot of that could be to fill this area in. It could end up just coming up, rejecting this fair value gap and coming back down. But ultimately, the way I trade is I expect price to come up and fill this entire area of imbalance. This is, again, this is where I agree with fair value gap sometimes, and sometimes I don't, because some people will just look for the rejection of fair value gap. But in most cases, you have to remember price is going to rebalance the entire imbalance of that area, right? Imbalance or value gap, whatever you want to call it, okay? At the end of the day, it's an area that was left in the market that's unmitigated, and price will most likely come back into that area to rebalance it. So I'm not going to necessarily treat it like a fair value gap and expect all that, because I'm not ICT. And I don't necessarily not agree with those concepts. But if you guys don't know, ICT is a guy basically renamed a bunch of concepts that already exist in the market. Okay, so that's why I call it imbalance and not a fair value gap, because that's what it really is. But now going down to lower time frames, what are we looking for? So now that we're seeing price starting to kind of trend on the 5-minute here, we're seeing a new bullish leg being made. So I'll mark this up as our new bullish expansion. What I'll wait for is price to come down into our discounted area, look for price, and there's two ways that we can enter here. We can enter as price comes down into a area of discount, and because I enter off the 1 minute, we then go to the 1 minute, and if we see a very strong rejection and reaction at one of these levels, we could just enter off the 1 minute, off that 5 minute trend, or we could wait for a 1 minute break of structure to confirm that price is now, one, rejecting a specific area, and two, now looking internally bullish, and then we can take some type of structural or internal structure break. So, but one thing we could also do, depending on how price looks, which again it's not guaranteed, is if price starts to kind of chop within here and create some type of bearish internal structure, we could take some type of pullback trade down into these areas of discount. So we'll see. What I'm liking NASDAQ for buys is just, are we going to get a buying opportunity? There was a situation last week where you guys remember where again, like, we had a perfect situation where price looked, it was a bullish too. We came down, we have very nice rejections, we got in, and we got wicked out right before price did make its full move. But again, we're still doing really good for the month. For NQ, we're doing really good for UK 100 and DAX. It's just a matter of, are we going to continue to see very good price action within these two pairs? So let's check news. Where it's showing. Give me a second, guys. Excuse me, fuck. Like, I want to take buys here, guys, but this is really not of good quality. I can't lie to you. Like, it could potentially hit, guys, on DAX, but I'm just not the biggest fan of it. I'm really not. Just because we could get caught in some type of bearish leg here where price does just come up and reacts off one of these order blocks, which is already kind of reacting here, could react here. Yes, it can expand higher. Like, ultimately, that's my overall direction, my bias, as far as where I can expect price to go, but we're just not looking at anything that's clean. So what I'd rather do is probably just wait for today and just kind of get an idea, okay, is price going to continue higher? And then from there, maybe we do get a break of structure, and then we can maybe hop in something an hour into London Open, or we can look for something next week with a little bit of a better, what's it called? Little bit of a better or breakdown or structure, overall structure. All right, let's make sure we're good everywhere. Let me get ready over here. Again, for NASDAQ, guys, I rock with the same stop loss, same take profit every single day. 40-point stop loss, 80-point TP, which is 10-point stop, or yeah, I meant tick. So 10-point stop loss, 40 or 20-point TP. So it looks like we could expand here, guys. Granted, like, even if I was looking for entry, I would need to see a pullback into some type of a discounted level before executing on this, just to kind of give me that confirmation that price had come down and is respecting those levels within this new range, and then we are seeing a re-break of those highs, but we're not necessarily seeing that right now. So we're now coming higher. That's fine. We're now entering into that area of imbalance on the hourly. It would suck to see price just absolutely soar and fill this area. At that point, if that did happen, I would definitely look for most likely just sales back down. If it was some type of pullback trade or something along those lines, or we would just call it a no trade day at that point. But again, like, the bias is already kind of filling itself. doesn't mean there's still not room for a trade, which would be price to potentially continue bullish to fill the entire area of that imbalance. What's up, Jay? But we'll see. Again, I'm not entering UK 100 at these highs, guys. It's not how I trade. Again, you guys definitely can. But at that point, like, I'm not entering based off no like real confirmation. It'd be borderline gambling at that point. It's not gambling. I mean, in the sense, you know, I have a bias, right? I understand that price can go higher here. One thing I'm noticing here is price is looking to go higher. Again, I'm fine not taking this trade, guys, solely due to the fact that, again, we didn't see the best structure. Yes, we understand that price came down to equilibrium, but we could just see a quick expansion that leads right back down and continues with that overall internal bearish trend. Again, we are bearish overall from, you know, this hourly standpoint, even, you know, 4 hours, or I'd say more an hourly standpoint. So that's where we can continue lower. But if we do end up continuing bullish, that's fine, because then we know we'll see some type of break of structure that we can play off of going into tomorrow, if it's not the pullback of that new hourly bullish leg or the continuation of that hourly bullish leg. You know, we'll be there, we'll catch it, and hopefully see some better internal structure, where again over here we just didn't really see the best structure. We had a lot of chop down here, which could be a sign of exhaustion. That price is not looking to go lower. That was a sign of that. But ultimately, price was not giving us the cleanest, I need to make sure I'm paying attention. But ultimately, price was not giving us the cleanest structure to play off of, in the sense of new internal highs to play off of, or changes of character. We had like some type of minor breaks here once price did finally break here. But again, we never really had a pullback of that internal leg where the low started from. Even if we treated this as our low, never got a pullback. We did end up filling this imbalance right here and then proceeding higher. But again, even with our stops most likely being down here, we would be looking for a pretty long ways to go before our first 101. So we'll see what ends up happening here, guys. No matter what happens, that'll be used as data. Keep that in mind. Is with DAX, we're going to treat this as data. If price does go higher, and we could have executed based off the fact, you know, we had that quick little pullback, so that re-break, even though that's not the way I enter, you know, I could still maybe use this as data. The data I'd really pull out of this isn't the entry in itself, but it's the overall bias. And if the bias of my original analysis plays out, then okay, you know, that's definitely worth getting into data, because it goes to show that my overall analysis was correct as far as expecting price to go higher for this reason, right? And I kind of already broke down the reasons. But if it doesn't, you know, it kind of goes back and says, all right, you know, like my bias was still strong in the sense of possibly expecting this based on probabilities, but price did continue lower due to the fact that, again, like it did just need to expand higher, have a pullback to lead to, you know, that, you know, continuation of internal bearish structure. Because again, like one thing we do notice is, again, what did I tell you guys? We saw that price was bearish, could just be having a pullback into premium pricing to continue its sell-off. Definitely could be happening. I'm going to pay attention here. All right, guys. Let's see. But even though DAX is kind of out of the picture as of right now, guys, we still have UK 100 if you are trading this with me. But ultimately, we still need to wait for some type of pullback and continuation. Yeah, true, no entry. It's fine. Not every day is going to be entry. But again, if you were here last week, I did have a later entry on UK 100. Where the fuck was it at? Hold on. I'll find this shit. It was right here, where we did end up seeing that very big bearish expansion. We had that pullback, and I entered a little bit higher than usual, but in this case, price looked very, very good. And again, we could potentially see the same kind of situation here today, where we can enter a little bit earlier than what we're used to. Obviously, there's a little bit more risk on that end, but it's, again, like everything's in our favor. In this case, where we did take these sells, again, we could expect that pullback. We had that break of structure to the downside on lower time frames. We had the pullback, and we could expect price to continue to facilitate that pullback. Now that we facilitated that pullback, we've been seeing some nice, healthy bearish structure, and You know, now that we're seeing a bullish expansion, we could see price pullback. The one thing about this is we could see deeper pullback, right? And that's where I probably would wait for a rebreak of those highs, even if it takes off, or it takes longer to hit our full 102. It is what it is. What's an impulsive entry? This, true? Or DAX? Oh, hold on. Let me pay attention here, guys. DAX is someone took it off the break. Yeah. Tim, I will read that here soon. Is it recent? Sorry, I've been getting a lot of DMs. The fuck? Hold on. I can shoot you a message after stream. Yo, just got here. What I missed. Springster, not much. We had DAX expand. We kind of expected the price to go higher here, but we really didn't see no clean entry. Like Chu said, it would have been an impulsive entry, and that's just not what we're looking for, guys. We're actually looking for quality over quantity. Again, I'm really big off of that. We're on that. It's very important to just mainly be looking for quality trades. And again, sometimes that means not trading. Sometimes that means waiting an hour. Again, I'll most likely wait here. NQ, I do think we will see some type of setup. What I'd like to see is I'd like to actually see price on the 1 minute re-break these highs, because then it kind of treats us as a structural low. And if we do come down, break that, and see some type of pullback behavior, I do want to execute on those sells. I really do. I'd actually prefer to execute on the sells than those buys, because the one thing about these buys is if price does end up reacting off of this like it is a fair value gap, we could just see price kind of top wick and just absolutely rip back lower, which is fine. But ultimately at that point, by the time that happens, it just may be way too late for us to take a setup on NQ. So if we do end up taking some type of pullback trade, the thing with that is it doesn't necessarily matter if price holds at these discounted levels, because what we're doing is we're just cashing that pullback into those levels. Those are our targets. And again, like that's actually my bread and butter trade. I actually love those setups more than I do when it comes to actually waiting for price to come down into a discounted level to trade it back higher. I do. Because again, like we're still playing very strong structure in the sense that price, we're still waiting for a very key, how would I say this? We're still waiting for clean structure in the sense of actually seeing some change of character within that internal structure, a pullback to the downside, which hopefully we see right now. Like as soon as we break this high with a candle closure, that would, to me, use it. We can use this as a structural low. And we can play that accordingly. So let's just hope we see that. Oh yeah. We could just see price continue to expand as well. But we broke that high. Beautiful. Yeah. So now what I'm waiting for is to see price potentially come down. Re-break these lows. And we can play that pullback back down. If it doesn't, it doesn't, you know. George, what chat was you talking? What's up, George? How you been though? Sorry if I'm drinking into the mic. Sometimes it picks it up, sometimes it doesn't. It's weird. UK100 still ripping. Again, we expected it, but we were just hoping to see a pullback. See what you said. I just noticed. Okay, I was on the funded one, didn't realize. Oh, make sure to delete those if you can. Got my second payout yesterday. Let's go, George. Guys, George has been killing it. Absolutely fucking killing it. Again, if you guys do not know, and this is your last day to actually enter, so I'll show you guys one more time. If you guys did not know, George was the account he's using right now. He won on a giveaway that I do have. He won it and he's running it up. So if you guys want to go comment and enter, so all you have to do is just like, comment, and subscribe. And I pick one of the comments from my video, every single video, to, you know, win a free 100K account. So if you guys want a chance to win, be like George. Again, he's gotten 2 payouts from it. Absolutely fucking amazing. Absolutely amazing. But that's why I do it, guys. That's why I give away those accounts, so you guys have that opportunity to go and potentially get a payout from him. That's what he did. Excuse me. Frankster, thank you for reminding me. It should be pretty soon. If you guys are interested in getting an instant funded account, you guys can DM me. It is kind of early access still. It should be out this week, but I can get you set up and all that. I can send you over the pricing, the rules. So if you guys do want to get an instant funded account, meaning you just skip the entire challenge phase, you don't have to deal with all that, and you just go straight into actual you know, live trading, just DM me. You can either DM me on Instagram, just say something like, you know, looking for instant funded, or DM me on Discord. Just let me know you're looking for information on instant funding. So they are a little bit of a different rules set, but nothing too crazy. I can send that over to you as far as the pricing as well. So, but like actually seeing it on the dashboard, that is something that should be out sometime this week. But like I said, there's still access to it, just, you know, through me. So DAX is ripping back down. And guys, what am I waiting for now? I'm waiting for price to break these lows of this internal structure, and ultimately going to wait for some type of pullback within this 1 minute structure. I'm liking it. I think we'll end up catching some sells today, hopefully. Check DAX. Yeah, DAX is starting to tank, guys. You know, kind of thankful I didn't take it, especially seeing this reaction here off of the equilibrium. It kind of tells me that price could still be looking to remain bearish. And that's why, you know, we don't impulsively enter on those trades, because we would have been screwed over there. Where's that giveaway, Nick? Oh, sorry, YouTube. So that link that I just sent you in the YouTube, if you go and like, comment, subscribe on my video, I pick one of the comments every single video. So again, that's why I say subscribe to, because even if you don't win this video, because I only pick one person, and there's a decent amount of comments every single video. So the video after this one that I post, I'll announce the winner in that one, but there'll also be another giveaway in that video as well. So there's gonna be a bunch of chances this year to win an account at some point. I don't repick winners. So yeah, I mean, there's a slight chance. If I've already picked everyone, then obviously. All right, getting a break of that low. I'm just waiting for that pullback, guys. Pullback and reaction. Again, if we come up and we react off one of these candles with a nice, hey, when it does that shit, I get out of the way. We got a little rainbow on the tree. It's not the tree, the screen. Hi, bro. What are we doing right now? What are we doing? We're trading NQ. We're waiting for some sells. What I need to see is some type of retracement and reaction off either the equilibrium or the 7% or even deeper, because we do have an order block sitting up here that we could see price. But ultimately, what we're waiting for is we don't just enter in at the 50%. No. We need to see a reaction candle. Again, that's what we're playing. We're playing the rejection and the reaction of price, paired with the fact that, the overall direction of price, we can expect it to continue bearish due to the fact that, again, like, we are expecting price to pull back within a 5-minute standpoint. Yes, we are expecting it to go higher from that point on, but that doesn't matter because ultimately we can expect price to come down into a discounted level of this 5-minute trend. So if we're looking for targets off the 1 minute, we have good targets, and now we're seeing internal price action shifting bearish, meaning we were ultimately bullish. We just broke a structural low. We can expect price to continue within that bearish structure. I see DAX trying to find a backside after that correction pullback. Yeah, it could be. It ultimately could be going up, like on a 5-minute standpoint, could be retesting, looking to go higher. But that 15-minute kind of scares me with that reaction. What's up, Sora? But again, we're gonna continue to kind of pay attention to this, just in case price does make a sudden move. Again, we are on the 1 minute, so it can be expected. And again, after we do see that reaction candle, I will take the break of that low of that reaction candle. But again, it needs to either react off the 50%, 7%, or this order block up here. But basically where we see the first reaction. Like if this was a type of reaction, like this candle that we're seeing here, if that is what we saw up here at equilibrium, we would have been taking those sales 100%. Like that's the type of reaction we want to see. But the fact of the matter is we're not deep enough within this range or this new, bearish leg to really want to take that right now. Yes, that could be a sign that price is definitely going to just kind of continue down a little bit further, but that's fine. That just continues to expand our overall range. Okay, but it's just an example of, a candle we'd like to see. This is a good reaction candle, when it comes to seeing the reactions of these, higher premium pricings. What's your YouTube? I just opened my account Friday and still learning. Yeah, I got you. There it is. I just dropped a video on, how I trade London. I'm actually dropping another video, I believe, tomorrow or Wednesday. So there will be another video out. There's already a couple of videos in there, can kind of help you out as far as how I break things down. The way I trade NQ, again, it's pretty much the same way I trade UK 100 and DAX. It's just at a lower scale, meaning we're just at a lower time frame than what I typically do here. I still trade the 5-minute, so it's not like crazy lower, but the 1 minute can be a little bit confusing and can be a little bit scary for some people. But ultimately, it's just following the same thing. It's the same system, right? It's understanding that price action is king. We will see new highs, new lows. And what will we see when we do make these new highs, new lows? We will see these pullbacks as price continues, to remain overall bearish. And obviously within this structure here, we're waiting for a pullback within this structure to go lower. And if we look at it from a 5-minute standpoint, we're waiting for a pullback to go higher, right? So we're basically catching the continuation of that internal structure that's technically a pullback from a 5-minute standpoint. And once we get that pullback at the 5-minute standpoint, we could look to shoot back higher. But, I'm not necessarily, if we catch these first initial sells, I'm not going to push for anything much more. It kind of can seem confusing. It's multi-time frame analysis, but if you understand multi-time frame analysis, you're set. Like I'm like that's all you need to know. Not all. Like if you understand price action and multi-time frame analysis and how basically all time frames align in some way, shape, or form, you're set. Trust me. Alright guys, let's hope to see something soon. I mean, we're only 20 minutes into open, but entry will be coming soon. But again, like entry we still need to see price have a decent reaction at one of these levels here. So like we may not even enter if price just absolutely just soars through these fucking specific levels. It is what it is. But I think we will see a reaction just based off overall structure of price. But it's not necessarily promised. Like price can come up, and just kind of have shitty looking structure in the sense of the screen went dark. No way. Yo, Discord, are you good? Can you see my screen? YouTube saying otherwise. You good? Try to refresh Blue Dream. Everything looks fine on Discord's end. Everything also looks fine on my preview for YouTube. We just missed equilibrium, guys. Actually, I don't know. Oh my god. I hate when that shit happens, man. It's gonna sell off, guys. We just missed equilibrium. And I don't enter unless we hit equilibrium. That's actually so annoying. Well, that's our trade for today, guys. I'm not getting in. We missed that reaction. And we would be entering at a break of these lows here. Again, price definitely can still come up higher and hit that equilibrium, but ultimately just based off that reaction, guys, I think price is probably just going to sell off from here on out. I'm not entering. Again, I needed to see the full pullback. And that's where I say price still does have room to potentially still come back up and have that full pullback. But ultimately, just based off that reaction, I can kind of assume price may just take off. I could be so wrong there. We could still have entry. But again, I'm not going to enter unless price does give us that full pullback there. And the reason I don't enter is because of the fact that price can still come back up and facilitate that entire pullback. Because it may look like it from a far out view, but we just missed it. Again, there's still potential opportunity. Price would obviously still have to come up and have a reaction off this level, but just based off the amount of volume that we saw step in, I really do think we probably will just see price sell off there. And if that's the case, I'm probably not going to shoot for buys. I mean, I could sit around and wait, but what I would wait for over here is I would wait for one price to come down within a discounted range, and then I would want to wait for the 1 minute to create some type of bullish internal structure back to the upside. But it sucks. It really does suck. Can I still use your risk reward ratio? Yeah, 100%. 100%. I just go for simple 1 to 2s. It's only $300 risk. So if I'm risking 300 to make 600 because I'm going for those 1 to 2s. And 100%, like, again, like if you notice here, like, let's say we did get entry here, we would be taking a break of the lows. Our stop is 10 points. Our TP is 20, right? So we would still be in this trade. Again, the reason I didn't enter is because of the fact that it didn't fully facilitate that pullback. And in most cases, like some cases it doesn't necessarily have to, but you have to remember, like, those I trade that for a reason, right? I'm expecting price to come into an area of premium pricing before it comes down into a discounted price. In this case, I was expecting it to come into an equal value of this new bearish leg before coming down further. But again, you can definitely use the same risk to reward ratio. It's super simple. It's systematic. It's easy. You don't need to have, this crazy 1 to 4s, 1 to 5s. You don't need that. Okay. Random question. Do you know how to connect WAP to your Discord channel? Like, in the sense of when they go to your WAP, it sends them a link to your Discord. Yeah. I've done it before, but it's kind of, I low-key don't like WAP. Like, I don't like it, like, at least back when I used it, it was so hard to, like, kind of run through. I almost hired someone to fucking do it for me. I don't remember, like, based off, like, I think there's like a thing in there called, like, when you go to add a channel, something like, I think there's like a Discord one, and then you would just add your server in there. Like, you would just send it the link and stuff like that. And then should be settings within there that allow you to, like, based off entry through WAP, it gives them a specific role. Yeah. ChatGPT may help, or I say YouTube, honestly. YouTube's probably your best bet. Like, that should be pissing me off. So, again, I'm expanding the range, guys. That does not mean we hit equilibrium, okay? Because, again, like, this was our original range prior to the fact that we, this pullback. But since we didn't hit equilibrium, that means technically we never completed a full pullback. So I don't necessarily look at this as a new high. I would just expand the range to this new low. And even though it now looks like we hit equilibrium, again, remember, that was within our old range, right? Now that we've kind of expanded range, it may look like that, but we technically have not, okay? So if we do end up seeing price come higher and do see still a decent reaction off equilibrium, we could still take these sells. Again, like, that's why I did not enter, because the possibilities of price having that short-term reaction, looking like it wants to go lower, getting a lot of impulsive traders in, even though it did not facilitate the entire pullback, and then shortly after coming back up to facilitate that pullback. But we know we still have very good targets here. The 5 minute looks great within this structure here, in the sense of we had that nice little bearish candle, we had a pullback here that rebalanced price. Looks very good. But we'll see what price does end up doing here. NAS is definitely the only thing that we're going to be taking today. It's either we get in these sells or we don't. If price just ends up selling off, I'm probably going to go back to sleep, guys. Again, like, there's no reason to really rush anything today, tomorrow. There's not, We have the entire week. It's only the second trading day, and plus yesterday was a bank holiday, so, that's already one trading day that we couldn't trade. But granted, I'm not mad that we didn't trade yesterday. Like, we can go back and let's see if there's any moves yesterday, guys. All right. So we saw a reaction there, but didn't have a reaction candle. That's what kind of sucks. Kind of chopped, I can't lie. Price needs to do something within here shortly. I'm talking like within the next 5 to 10 minutes. If price just continues to kind of stutter, I'm just not going to be a fan of that. It needs to either come up higher and give us that reaction we're looking for, or just expand lower already. Because again, from a 5-minute standpoint, like, it looks very good for sells. Like, I honestly could say that price, at least short-term sells down into these discounted levels. Still expanding on DAX. Again, whoever said that we were kind of just looking like a pullback for a continuation, again, it looks like you're right. But it's just not my cup of tea. Again, with DAX, I'd rather wait for that new expansion leg where we actually can see a proper break of structure. Let me make sure we're not missing out on anything. Okay. And then we can either, again, depending on how price continues to play out through the night. See you tomorrow. No trade for me, DAX. UK one, just no setup. Yeah, true. I agree with you. But, going back to DAX, if we see price, continue to expand, we can play the pullback tomorrow. Okay. If price, expands, pulls back, we can play the continuation tomorrow. But at that point, we know that price is definitely indeed now looking to continue within that overall bearish structure. But right now, it's kind of in between. As far as UK 100, again, I told you guys, I expect these highs to be taken. It could just take them on this push here, 100%. But one thing that I am expecting is a pullback. Now that we see that bullish price action, we can clearly see that price wants to go higher. We could wait for some type of pullback with an equilibrium, and we could shoot for like something like this. I could see myself doing so. Okay, I can't lie to you. It may be a little bit of a riskier impulsive trade. Looks like we're selling off, guys. Damn, that sucks dick, guys. Like, I had the feeling price was going to sell. Like, why couldn't it just give us that fucking reaction? Who do I blame today for that? I'm just kidding, guys. No one's to blame, just the markets. Again, guys, quite literally missed it by fucking hair. That entire pullback. And again, these situations suck when you know that where price is going to go. Blame the new guy. Yeah, serious. That's all you. Do you only trade right? Do you only trade micro? In most cases. Like, I can trade minis. But it's just easier. Like, I can, because if I want to cut contracts, it's a lot easier. All right, guys, but we are selling off, and again, I can't be mad in the sense that our buys played out, and we actually had really good structure to the downside here. I told you guys what I was waiting for is that break of structure, that pullback, and that continuation. Fact of the matter is, we just didn't get that entire pullback. Missing it by a hair, yes, it sucks, but we can even see it on futures end over here where same thing happened. It wasn't just the markets that we're looking at; it was just the overall. It wasn't just the data provider we were looking at. It was just actually what happened. Yeah, H. Like, if I wanted to just, like, fucking go crazy and make 1,000 a trade, but it's not necessary. Like, you guys gotta understand that, like, going for higher RR means I can risk less and in return make more because of the fact that I do go for, not just one-on-ones. Yeah, call the DAX, but I still see continuation back to the upside more for highs. Yeah, Casper, I agree with you. I think price is definitely overall bullish. There was just nothing for me to enter in off of, sadly. But again, now that price is coming down, what we could wait for, guys, is one, I don't think I'm just going to enter off a reaction candle within these areas. I have a feeling price does have room to sell off quite deep within this range, if I'm being 100% honest with you. Well, we have now pretty much completed our overall objective from the selling standpoint, because again, our objective was for price to come down into these levels. We would have most definitely hit TP, I believe, with a 10-point stop. Yeah, we would have hit TP. Fuck. Again, guys, I'm still can't be mad. If I would have entered impulsively, guys, and we would have taken a loss, then again, like, I would have been more mad at myself taking that loss due to the fact that I broke my rules knowingly, in the sense of not seeing that pullback. Even though we had a reaction candle on a slight pullback, we need to see that entirety of that pullback. If it doesn't hit equilibrium, to me, that's not an actual pullback. Like, it didn't complete its objective of pulling back into a premium price of that new internal range. So understanding that, again, like, I'd rather miss out on this trade and get the confidence of the sense that we understood where price was going to go, rather than, again, take the trade. Because again, even if I took the trade and, you know, we would have won clearly, I don't want to give you guys a false sense of confidence in something that doesn't necessarily work long term, right? And the same goes for myself too. Like, I'm at a point where I wouldn't get that false sense of confidence, but ultimately, like, you know, I have to be a role model in the sense of, you know, following your plan is key. Like, it is very much key within trading, because if without your plan, like, you have no edge. Like, your system is your edge, right? And the understanding of, okay, once price does this, this is how I react. If price doesn't do this, this is how I react. It's really that simple. That's why they say it's robotic, in a sense, if you feel like a robot, because you're just the way you react. It's very systematic, or at least it should be. So again, like, ultimately, if you guys are trading NQ with me, get data. You know, that's definitely what I'm going to do. Maybe not right after this, but I will look to get data in the sense of, okay, this is what happened. Price barely missed this, because that could be key information. Because if we continue to run into these situations where price is barely missing equilibrium, I'm not saying we're going to go and look to execute off of that, but it could definitely be a piece of information that we can use to tell us, okay, like, you know, we need to change something up in the sense of, you know, price continuously is, you know, treating us like this, or treating, you know, our legs or reaction candles like this, and it's just something that needs to, you know, be changed. But I don't think that would be the case. Again, like, we haven't seen this happen. I think we've seen this happen one other time, if anything, and I think price did end up coming back up. But again, like, the main data is that's going to come out of this is just basically to build confidence, in the sense of that we understood where price was going. Price did go in that direction, but there wasn't much we can do about entry in that point. But I could stick around now that we've kind of pushed down within here to see what happens. Ultimately, I would like to see some type of 1 minute change of character. In this case, like, as of where it's at right now, price would have to, like, break most likely these highs, and then we could, you know, wait for, you know, pullback, continuation, whatever. But I do think price will end up selling off a bit further, which sucks because it could take a while now, being that I do want to wait for that change of character on the 1 minute. But I do think price can ultimately sell off all the way down here. But the bad thing is we could see some stutters, and I wouldn't want to continue within sells. Like, if, you know, we were to, granted, I wouldn't even use that as my new leg, because we didn't fully complete that pullback, meaning, like, this is still our entire range here. But ultimately, I wouldn't want to continue sells, because granted, price could just rip up, being that we're now in discount of that 5 minute range. Garden cells fire. I think cells are definitely promising. Again, guys, I will be looking for some type of buying opportunity within here. I'm pretty confident with that, I could say. The one thing with this, though, is, again, like, entering at equilibrium rather than waiting for that entire re-break of those highs, like these are the highs I'm talking about, is definitely putting me at a little bit of a riskier situation, being that price could end up pulling back through this internal structure to come deeper within this bullish leg. But ultimately, the reason I'm willing to play that is because just the looks of things, just by seeing this bullish expansion, I ultimately do think that price will pull back to continue to expand, at least into these highs up here. So I'm pretty confident in that overall. So I do think if we do see that pullback, and we've had honestly a very good month so far, so we definitely can risk here. We've had a very, very good month with the UK 100 and DAX. It's getting hot in my room. It's getting hot as fuck. Got a big ass jacket on. But again, I will be setting limits here, guys. Most likely equilibrium. I typically don't enter at equilibrium, guys, but when I have a lot of key factors in my favor, a lot of confluences to overall support that bias, I do end up feeling pretty confident in the sense of entering on, equilibrium. Again, like when it comes to UK 100, I typically do wait for the pullback, rebreak of those highs to confirm that price is now trending in that direction. The one thing with that is, let's say price does have a deep retracement. Now we're looking at a 70-point stop loss for UK 100. We typically don't ever see that big of a stop loss for UK 100. We really don't. But ultimately, even playing it a little bit differently there, it's not necessarily breaking our rules in any way, shape, or form, because again, we still have the same analysis, we have the same management plan in the sense of how we're going to react once price does move in our favor or against us. And I have entered this way before, so. Let's see what's happening here. Again, guys, with NASDAQ, I assume we probably could see, obviously price could just absolutely fucking dump through this bullish trend just based off the hourly reaction. Again, keep in mind that we did come within this fair value gap. We could be rejecting it to go lower. That's why I really did want sells. That's what, because again, the buys aren't necessarily promised, even though we are still bullish within the internal structure. Just seeing this reaction, it really pushed me over and leaned me towards wanting to take those sells, just because of the fact that if buys don't end up playing out, at least we know we could have got those sells down. You guys know what happened. I may just call it a day, just because of the fact that, again, price didn't necessarily give us what we wanted. Yes, it definitely still can continue bullish within this internal 5-minute structure. Sorry, look. But I think we definitely still have some time, especially being what I want to see is not just a reaction within this 5-minute. I'd want to see the 1 minute create some type of bullish structure, and then we just play that new bullish trend back up or something like that, enter like that. So, I mean, I'm probably still going to be up maybe for a little bit while I set limits here. But I actually fixed my sleep schedule. I'm surprised myself. But it's still kind of fucked in the sense I don't get a full that's okay. I breached my challenge account 2 lost over, but got told I have no live data. Do you know how long before it will reset? When did you buy it? It depends on when you bought it. Whenever you bought it is whenever reset. A month after that day. So if you bought it on the 20th of January, it'll refresh on the 20th of February. If that makes sense. Or reset, I should say. You guys think the 1 minute will play out in the K100? I don't trade the 1 minute. Well, gotta reset my account, newbie. I know. Well, I have to wait a whole month. It's fine. It happens. Again, trial and error. Again, be grateful that you are now going through the trial and error experience right now, and you're not just sitting on your hands. A lot of people right now just think about taking action while you're actually taking action, and that's the difference. You got to find the good within the bad. Always look for the good within the bad, and even if it's, you know, it's not in a sense comparing yourself, but ultimately looking at it from a perspective of, again, like I could be doing a lot less than what I'm doing right now. I could not even be trading. I could just be doing my same old. And ultimately, is that gonna, get you where you want to go? Probably not. It could, but the fact that you're actually applying yourself, and this goes to everyone. This goes to everyone. The fact that you're actually applying yourself, doing something differently, is definitely where you stick out, and you should be grateful for. So, but I'm out of here, guys. Honestly, I can't complain about today. We had a very nice move here, but again, you guys know why I didn't enter. We quite literally missed our area where we wanted rejection by a fucking hair. But ultimately, I can't do nothing about that. Our bias was still correct in the sense of expecting sells. I know a lot of you guys are in sells, which is great. Yeah, Mamba has some fire videos. I can't lie to you. He really does. Mamba's a G when it comes to that. But ultimately, I'm going to set limits on UK 100 at this area. You guys definitely can if you do trade UK 100 with me. Obviously, you can't trade on Legacy, but I do trade on my live account. Also, if you guys are interested in an instant funded account, meaning you just skip all the fucking bullshit in the sense of having a passive valuation, you just go straight into a live account. You can DM me on Discord. You can DM me on Instagram, and I'll get you over the rules and the pricing if that's something you're interested in. My Instagram's Niicksfx. With that being said, I'm out of here, guys. Great day. Can't complain. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We still have potential in the sense of UK 100. And if I'm still awake and I do see potential on NASDAQ, where we do see some type of, internal bullish structure, I'm going to enter. Again, guys, the only reason I'm going to enter is because at the end of the day, I got to think about myself. And it's just an example or advice to you guys that, yes, I'm here to help you guys, but ultimately your ultimate goal should be your own trader. I'm my own trader, meaning, I can enter based off the fact that it's still my trading time and I see a setup. But I'm not always going to be here, guys, so that's why your ultimate goal should be your own trader. That's what I'm trying to build within you guys, is just the confidence to take your own trades, which a lot of you guys do. I'm glad. But if you're not at that point yet, that's fine. I'll be here tomorrow, same time, 11:45 p.m. PST, to help you out with that. Later, YouTube. I'm out of here. Appreciate you guys joining. Again, we also got Discord. If you guys don't know, Discord, it should be linked in the bio of this live. If you guys want to go hop into there tomorrow. I just ended my live on Discord. A little less latency, but like I was telling them, great day. Can't be upset. Again, we just missed our confirmation of our entry by a hair, but can't be mad there. And again, if you are looking at UK 100 with me, I am expecting price to potentially pull back and then continue back higher. We'll see what happens, but I'll see you guys same time, 11:45 p.m. PST tomorrow.